Okay, so tonight is Chaf Aleph Adar, and we are starting Parak Lamed Daled. So we've been talking about the Rebbe's themes in Nun Aleph Nun Beis, and how we have to bring Mashiach, and then we have to live with Mashiach. We have to open our eyes. We have to accept Mashiach. So now we're going to start looking more in depth at each of these topics. So this chapter, Asu Kol Yecholtem. What did the Rebbe, when the Rebbe said this, which we know is a very powerful sikha, that we have to do everything that we can. What is that we have to do? So this is our topic. Hadrachim Havas Mashiach. What are the paths? What are the ways to bring Mashiach? Rifki, I'm going to ask you to take it away, please. I will put the little remote little thingy on here. Okay.
Which Rifki?
You.
Okay.
Okay.
Inyan Hachi Ikri Shazman. Earlier Zakai Shal Chafches Nisan Shnas Tavshin Aleph. Nasar Evasichim Yochedes Besignoina Uvasaichana Oidis Hamtsois Hamamotzim Lavas Agula Vikar Dwarav Sham. On the special day of Chavches Nisan in Tavshin Aleph, the Rebbe spoke a special sicha about the efforts to bring the Geula, and the main thing he said was, Ma oid yochonu lasois kidei shekol bnei Yisrael yarishu v'yitzako be'emes yinfalu lahavias Mashiach b'koyel v'acharei shekol ma shenaseh ad ata lo yhoyo hadavar yechidi sheyacholni lasois limsor inyan aleichem asu kol asher b'yacholtem inyanim shehem ba'ofen de'oiris t'toyu aval b'kelem de'tikun lahavi b'koyel Mashiach tzidkenu take of miyad mamash. I think we all know these words by heart. What more can we do? What more can I do in order that all Bnei Yisrael will scream and make noise with the emes and will do that needed to bring Mashiach in actuality? After all that was done till now didn't help. The only thing that I could do is to give it over to you. Do all that you can. And the inyanim should be in a way of oiris titohu, but in kalim of tikkun, to bring the payol Mashiach tzidkenu take miyad mamash. V'hiratzin sheseif kol seif yimtzu eser asarim Yisrael sheyisakshu shehem uchrachim lefol etzel kadosh baruch hu lahavi b'payol segula mitzvos v'shleim take miyad mamash. V'hiratzin sheyimatzei mikem echad shnayim shleisha sheyitachzu eitza malasois v'ketzi lasois v'oid v'hu ha'ikar. And you hear that saying that it should be Hashem's will that Seif we will find 10 people, 10 Yidden who will be Akshanim, who will that they have to force, not what force, but to no. To the fall, to
affect, to act on it,
to
make it happen, to really make it happen
by Hashem, to bring the Geula b'Payil, take miyad mamish, and Yehirat saying that we will find among you 1 or 2 or 3 that will think of good eitzah. What could be done and how it could be done, and the main thing is that they will affect that the Geula Mitzvos Vashlema will come b'Payil Mamish, take of miyad mamish with simcha and tuv levav. Umaz ve'elech noisei Geula ala rosh seder hayom b'sichaisav shel harebe ba'oset kufa v'chol hasichais b'shvui shalakar mikeim miskad mis Maktais benoisei ikar echad hadrachim ketz lavias hagula b'payil mamish. And from then on, the topic of the Geula was the main one in every sikh of the Rebbe in that time period. And all the sichos in the weeks after that were based on this main topic, the ways to bring the geula b'poel mamash. And we will only cite the beginning of each of these sichos, that they will be like a heading, and we can learn from them the teichen of the whole sicha. Sicha Shabbos Parshas Tazria Metzora, Shvul Achmekain. Behemshach lahamedubar vahamudgash biyaiser. Bizman achrei mamish al dvar atzerach bepulas shal kol echad v'echad Yisrael says kol atoli boy lahavis Mashiach tzedkeinu pal mamish take of miyad mamish. So in the Sicha of Shabbos Parshas Tazria Metzora, which was a week after that, so the Rebbe said, in continuation to that which we spoke and that which was stressed in the last time, about the need for each and every one to do something, to do all that they can to bring Mashiach Tzidkeinu b'pol mamish take of biad mamish. Well, there's a v'shtabish shel achar mikayim parshas achar kedoshim. B'kesher meduber lachreina oidus hagula mitzvah v'shlema v'oidus ha'pu'ula shetzarich kol Yehudi la'asais kedei lehavias hagula. And the same way in the next Shabbos, parshas achar kedoshim, the Rebbe said, in connection with that which is spoken in recent times about the Gula Mitzvah Shlema and the actions that every single Jew has to do in order to bring the Gula. Shabbos Parshas Emar, Behemshach Medubar Oid Sinyan Gula. Yeah, Shabbos Parshas Emar, the Rebbe also started by saying, and in continuation with that which we spoke about the Gula. Behemshach Oisikayis, Shabbos Parshas Chukas, the Rebbe said, Hagula mitzvah shlema inyan achi ikri shezman grama kimedubar kama pama uprat lacharayna. The Rebbe said the Gula mitzvah shlema, that which is the most important thing in this propitious time, as we spoke many times and specifically recently. Ubehetem lepsicha kach gam teichen asicha shebachol sicha mevar mikevan mikiva noisef ketzat tzricha liyais havoida lezirus hagula b'poel mamash kefi sheperet be'emshech. And as the beginning of each sicha, that is
fitting with this opening.
Okay, is also the whole teichen of the sicha, that in every sicha, the Rebbe explains from a different point of view, from a different direction, from an additional direction, what is the avodah that will hasten the geula b'poel mamish. And as we will say the details in the future, I mean now, and continue, we will, yeah. לפני שנכנס לגופם של דברים, יש להדגיש שמדברי הרבי אפשר להבין שהשיחה של כ"ח ניסן אין רק הסעירס מחודשת, כמו שיחת רביס נסיפויס המעירס על פעולס להבוס המשיח, אלא היא מהווה ציון דרך כללי בעל משמעויות היסטוריס. So before we go into the actual ideas, we have to stress that from the words of the Rebbe, we understand that the Sikha of Chavches Nisan was not just a new enthusiasm, a new awakening, like many of the other sichos that awaken the pu'ulais to bring Mashiach. But this sicha was like a sign, a general direction, with historical meaning. וכפי שאפשר לראות זאת בצורה ברורה בשיחת שבס פרשת תזריע מצוירה ווב עיר בתחילתה. מדובר מודגש ביסר בזמן האחרון ממש על דבר הצורך בפעולתה של כל אחד ואחד מישראל לעשות כל התלוי בו להביאס המשיח צדקנו. כיוון שבימינו אלה ממש עם סיומו של חודש ניסן תהי שנה עשרנו נפלויס, כל הקיצים כפשוטי ממש. And so we can see in a clear way from the Rebbe's words in Shabbos Parshas Tazria Mitzayra and Vav Iyar in the beginning. The Rebbe says we read and we're talking and stressing a lot in the last time about the need for each and every Yid to do an action, to do everything that is needed to bring Mashiach Tzidkenu, because in these days, Mamish, at the end of Chodesh Nisan of the year Teishnas Aren and the Flies, all the cakes, the cakes for Mashiach to come actually ended. Kipshutei Mamish. Raymanu Sharebe Naikev B'tzuri Yishir V'tarach Mesuyam Ma'oitz Yumei Shel Chodesh Nisan Shebediak Oz Kol Kisin Kipshutei Mamish. So we see that the Rebbe stated in a clear way a date, a specific date, that the end of Chodesh Nisan, that exactly then all the Ketzin finished. Pashat. ומבאר שזו הסיבה לכך שבזמן האחרון, כלומר מאז כ"ח ניסן, סיום של חודש ניסן, ישנה הדגשה מיוחדת לעניין הגאולה. And he explained that that is the reason why in the last time period, meaning from Chavches Nisan, the end of Chodesh Nisan, there's a special stress on Geula. And so in the continuation of the Sikha, maybe a Rebbe is divrei Admar Tzemach Tzedek b'bir mashmaos hamusag arena nefleis v'shaychos l'chodesh Nisan. U'mesayim v'al pizeh tumta akadgoshus inyan agula b'yom machroinim mamish im siyum shel chodesh Nisan d'shnas arena nefleis. And so in the continuation of the Sikha, the Rebbe brings the words of the Tzemach Tzedek and an explanation on the idea of Arenu Neflois and its connection to Chodesh Nisan. And the Rebbe finishes, and according to this, it's even made sweet.
Yeah, in other words, we understand better why there's such an emphasis.
The emphasis on the Geula in the last days were at the end of Chodesh Nisan in the year of Arenu Neflois. The Gam Bazer Royim, שהרב מתייחס לעניין זה של הדגושת עניין הגאולה ביום האחרונים ממש, לא כמקררגל, אלא כאירוע בעל משמעויות כלליות, שאפשר וצריך למצוא לו מוכר ומשמעויות בתורה. So the Rebbe, so we see from this that the Rebbe relates to this idea of the emphasis on the Geula in the last days, not something just happened to be, but something that a happening that is meaningful, and we have to find a makar for this in the Torah. Meaning, why specifically at this time? This is the time when the cat's finished, then we have to really work on it. Haderech lavos hageula. Ukenal besidus hasicha shelacher chavches nisan. Him shacharebe levar laharis haderech lavos hageula. V'novi bezes hanukudes ha'ikras shabaisen sichas. And as mentioned in the set of sichas that were after chavches nisan, the Rebbe continued to explain and to guide the way to bring the geula. And we will bring a few points, the main points in those sichas. The Cholerish, Besicha is Shabbos Parsha Shmini, Chavtes Nisan, Yemayim Lacher Amiris Asicha. Beer Hareva Shekavanosai Bidvar Avodas Avos Mashiach, he the Mashmois Hapshuta Shel Advarim, Lulimir Atayr Vikim Tarig Mitzvos, Ublashay Nesham. So first of all, in the Sicha of Shabbos Parsha Shmini, Chavtes Nisan, 2 days after the Sicha, the Rebbe explained that what he meant in those words about bringing Mashiach, he meant it in a very pashut way, that he's talking about learning Torah and fulfilling the Torah mitzvahs. And as the Rebbe said there, then, over pashtus, kol Yehudi yesh lo achrayis lahaisib ba'avadas lavias Mashiach tzidkenu v'pal mamash, u'mamis bates avodazu, zehu gam ken bepashtus by safi b'Torah mitzvahs b'limin ha'Torah nigla the Torah pnimis ha'Torah v'kiyam ha'mitzvahs b'hiddur v'kol zevitay chatzifiyah v'tchuka v'chulei. And Bepashtos, every Yid has the achrayus to increase in his avodah to bring Mashiach Tzidkenu b'Poel Mamash. And in what is expressed this avodah, that is also very pashut. And adding in Torah mitzvahs, in learning Torah, nigla the Torah, pnimis Torah, and in doing mitzvahs behidr. And all this with the hope and the desire of the geula, that I'm waiting for him. He should come every day. Shabbos Parshas Achrei Kedoshim Yud Gimel Iyar Bir Rebbe Yosef Shahayil V'inyan Geula Hu Iskals Kodesh Shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu V'Ilameinu Agashmi Dafka Lefichach Haderech Lavas HaMashiach Yidafka Mitoich Isuk B'Inyani Olam. And in the Sicha of Shabbos Achrei Kedoshim Yud Gimel Iyar, the Rebbe explained even more that because the inyan of the Geula is the revelation of Hashem in this Gashmistic world, so therefore the way to bring Mashiach is dafka through dealing with inyanim in this world. Kol bal esek tzarich l'chapes drachim ketzed legales binyani esek shalai v'chulei k'vayda shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu u'lenatzal sasakim v'hanichosim v'aksharm shalai lo'isafu b'tayro mitzvahs v'agula tluya dafka b'maseinu v'vetseinu b'zman ha'golos l'ses deru tachtainim l'chanas ha'olam l'geula hechem achalko ba'olam aidei asafu b'kiyam mitzvahs and drum gashmiyim kailov miyuchad mitzvahs tzedaka shalai keach ma'gashmiyish v'ashiras shalai v'oizer l'sheni v'alderech zeh oizer l'maistes tayro tzedaka v'yitzibay v'kach gam b'vedasa b'inyani rashush shalai hu oizer zeis b'efen shal kol masach l'shem shemayim v'chol derech hachadei. So as the Rebbe said there, every businessman has to find ways how he can reveal the kavod of Hashem in his business, and to use his business and his possessions and his connections to add in Torah mitzvahs. The Geula is dependent specifically on our actions in the time of Galus to make a Dira Tachtainim, to prepare the world to the Geula, starting from his portion of the world through
We lost Rifki for a second.
Yes, we have lost Rifki.
I hope she'll be back any moment. Maybe she got a call or lost reception. Should I take over a little bit, or Liba maybe? Either Liba?
Yeah, great. Go ahead.
Me or Liba?
Lifka, you
you're-
read. Lifka, you read.
Okay. Hagula Tzluya Dafka Masina about, oh, I think Rifki's back. Hooray. Well, hi Rifki, we missed you.
yeah, sorry, somebody called and it just could disconnect it. I didn't even know it would.
No.
I'm just pour a drink of water while I stuffed already.
Amen.
So starting with his, starting with his portion of the world through additional adding in Kiyama Mitzvahs with Gashmistic items, and specifically the mitzvah of tzedakah, when he takes the Gashmias and his riches and he helps the second person, and through that he and the same way he can help Moistes Torah tzedakah and etc. And so it is also in the Inyanei Rishus that whatever he's doing, it should be Kol Masech L'Shem Shemayim or Chol Derech HaChadehu. Void v'gam ze ikar al yidei hafotzas haTorah v'yadus v'hafotzas hamyanis chutza kol miyuchad l'er Yehudim chol olam kulei sheyisifu oid yoser b'lim haTorah v'kiyum hamitzvos v'chein gam l'ashpi al umas ha'olam v'negei l'kiyum shav mitzvos b'nei noach v'lochen oisam levahoisel Hashem ha'melucha. So even more importantly, through hafotzas haTorah v'yadus and hafotzas hamyanis chutza, which includes specifically to awaken Jews in the whole world that they should add in their Torah and their mitzvahs, and also to have hashpah on the nations of the world in fulfilling their Shev Mitzvos B'nei Noach, and to prepare them to V'hoisel Hashem HaMelucha, that Hashem will also be a king for them, or they'll realize that Hashem is also their king. ולכן הכוונה בדברים אלו היא שלא ידמה אדם מנפשי שהויל והוטלה עליו האחריות לבוס הגאולה. לפיכך יפרש מכל עסקיו ויסמסה לתור תפילה ולפעולת כיוצא בה, שעל ידם יביא הגאולה בפועל. So what the Rebbe means to say here is that a person should not think that he has to take upon himself, when he takes upon himself the achrayus to bring the geula, he should therefore separate himself from all his business and all his dealings, and he should just do Torah tefillah and different pu'ulay, and because that's how he's going to bring the geula b'payil. Ela sheyeda shekavon el yonehi shetiyeh lakadosh baruch hu dibra tachtonim dafka. V'zaysu payil edei shu menatzelas asaka v'kshara v'chulei lafetz yadas u'farsem shem shemayim b'mekam sheshiv oil ena magia leim v'dafka b'derech zu yavi geula. No, but the Rebbe wants him to know that the kavanah elyoina is that Hashem should have a dibra tachtonim specifically, and that is he's able to do that through using his business and his connections, etc., to spread yadus and shem shemayim in the places that someone who sits and learning can't even reach. And specifically through this, he could bring the geula. V'shvu la'achar mikei, b'sicha Shabbos Parshas Emor Chaf Iyar. V'yisef Rebbe levar shel azad lova yizgala ba'olam kodesh shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu b'dargas achi nalos. Aleihen medubar rak b'teres hachasidus. V'lachem b'chtei lahavias HaMashiach tzarech liyos leirak isuk b'inyanei ha'olam ela b'makbil tzarech liyos gam dogesh miyuchad al limud v'afotzas haTorah b'chlal b'teres hachasidus b'frat ul v'shoinei sham. And a week after that, in Shabbos Parshas Emor Chaf Iyar, the Rebbe added and explained that in the future, the kavod of Hashem will be revealed in this world in a very high level, the way that is talked about in Teres HaChasidus. And therefore, in order to bring Mashiach, there has to be not only our dealings with the worldly things, but parallel to that, we have to have also an emphasis on learning and spreading Torah in general and Torah Chassidus befrat. And as the Rebbe said there, Hayram is ever pashtus, but again, the pulay shebnei Yisrael tzrichim lasos lemayar oid yoser segeula b'noisov lepuulos becholkai ba'olam ad b'chol ha'olam legalis ketza l'kadosh baruch hu alufa shel olam ufrat al yedei zeh shemenatzlem es kol inyanei olam shem shemayim uledoehu כך שכל דבר בעולם מגלה כבודו של הקדוש ברוך הוא. צריכים גם להיות סוף מיוחדת באולפנה בלימוד התורה, ובמיוחד בפנימיות התורה כפי שנסגלסה בתורת החסידות ובאופן של הבנה והסודה, בחוכמה בינה ודעת, וגם להשפיע על אחרים סביבה על ידי הפצת התורה והידע והפצת המיונס. The idea from this is, simply speaking, in regards to what Bnei Yisrael have to do to hasten the Geula even more. So in addition to the work that has to be done in his portion of the world, till the whole and in the whole world, to reveal how Hashem is the owner of the world, and specifically through using everything in the world, l'shem shemayim, and to know Hashem. So everything in this world reveals the kavod of Hashem. So besides that, there also has to be a hisafa in learning Torah, and specifically pnimis Torah, as is revealed in Teres HaChasidus, in a way of understanding, in Chachma Bina Vadas, and also to have an effect on others around him through Hafatzas HaTorah Vayados and Hafatzas HaMiyanos. Someone else want to read, or I should continue?
Well, you want to take over?
עשה כאן ארץ ישראל. ובתקופה מאוחרת מעט יותר, בשבת פרשת פנחס, כ"ד תמוז תנסה, דיבר הרבי אודות פתגם הצמח צדק, עשה כאן ארץ ישראל. הוא ביאר שלכל יהודי פרטי, ישנו מקום פרטי בו הוא נמצא, ובו עליו לעשות את שליחותו בעולם, ולעשות ממנו ארץ ישראל. Okay, so in a later time, in Shabbos Parshas Pinchas, the Rebbe spoke about the saying of the Tzemach Tzedek, do here Eretz Yisrael, and he explained that every individual Yid had his individual place where he's being, and he has to do from his own place a place of shlichus for to make a place of shlichus ארץ ישראל. וכך גם כשמדובר על הבאת הגאולה לעולם כולו, והאחריות שיש לכל יהודי להביא את הגאולה בכל העולם, עליו להתמקד בעבודתו במקומו הפרטי, ומשם הוא יביא את הגאולה לכל העולם. So also when we speak about bringing the geula to the whole world, so every Yid has a responsibility to bring the geula for the whole world, but he has to concentrate in his work, in his private place. And from there he will bring the geula for the whole world. ובלשון קודשו, כל יהודי יש לו את חלקו ושליחותו בעולם שהקדוש ברוך הוא נתן לו. אחד הוא בעל עסק, שני עניינו לימוד התורה וכיוצא בזה, ובכל סוג גופה יש לכל אחד חלק ושליחות נפרדת בעולם. וכל אחד נמצא בחלק מסוים בעולם, היכן שהקדוש ברוך הוא הוביל אותו, כיוון ששליחותו היא דווקא באותו מקום. והגם שכל נקודה במקום וכל שליחות בעולם היא רק חלק קטן מכל העולם, ולפעמים יכול אחד לחשוב כיצד תובעים ממנו שיביא את הגאולה, גאולה כללית לכל העולם, כאשר עבודתו היא רק בחלק קטן בעולם. So every Yid has his portion and his shlichus in the world that the Eibishter gave him. One person is a businessman, the other one is learning Torah, and etc. And in each kind, there is everyone has his own portion and his shlichus, different separate shlichus in the world. And everybody is being in a certain place in the world where the shlichus is in Dafka in this place. And even though it's only one place in the world, and the whole shlichut portion from the whole world, a person can think how they are demanding, how he's being demanded to bring the geula for the whole world, when his work is only one small portion of the world. אז אומרים לכל יהודי, שיש לך הוראה מנשיא דורנו, תעשה כאן ארץ ישראל, להתמסר לגמרי לעשות כאן ארץ ישראל, במקומך הפרטי, ודווקא על ידי זה, תפעל בכל העולם, כיוון שבחלקך בעולם נכללו כל החלקים בעולם, ועל פי זה גם מובן כיצד יש לכל יהודי את האחריות להביא את הגאולה לכל העולם כולו, כיוון שעל ידי זה שהוא עושה את עבודתו הפרטית בשלמות, אפילו בפרט שבפרט, ברגע אחד ומקום אחד, יש בכוחו לעשות מזה ארץ ישראל, ועל ידי זה לפעול ולהביא את הגאולה השלמה בכל העולם. So the Rebbe said with every Yid that you have a hayora from the Nisidorino, that you should do here Eretz Yisrael, to devote yourself completely to make Eretz Yisrael in your private place, and through that you will act all over the world, because in your little part you have your little part, all the parts are included, the whole world is included, and that's why we can understand that that a person every Yid has the responsibility to bring the geula for the whole world, because when he is doing his avodah, his work, his individual, his private work, he's doing it in a complete way, even in one little detail, in 1 minute, in one place, when he's doing it in a complete way, then he can make from it Eretz Yisrael, and through that, bring the geula for the whole world. Okay, so really the Rebbe makes it like easy in a way, like it tells you like we don't have to do nothing big, just a detail of a detail, like something so small, but do it in a complete way. That's the way to bring the גאולה. ומסגנון הדברים בשיחה נראה שהדברים מכוונים לאותו יהודי שנרתע מליטול על עצמו את האחריות להבאת המשיח, כיוון שזה נראה לו למעלה מכוחותיו. ואז זה אומרים לו שאחריותו להבאת הגאולה מתבטאת בעבודה בכוחותיו הוא ובסביבתו הקרובה. So it seems that the Rebbe is speaking here to a Yid that he is like he feels he cannot bring the geula, like it's too much demanded from him, because it seems above his koiches and his work. So the Rebbe tells him that your responsibility to bring the geula is expressed in your koiches, in your ability, in your place. ולכאורה אפשר ללמוד מזה גם אידך גיסא. ליהודי שנגע אלוקים בליבו, ונדבה רוחו אותו לעשות ככל ביכולתו, ולטכס עצה כיצד להביא את המשיח, ויכול לעלות על דעתו שנדרש ממנו להתמסר דווקא למבצעים כלל עולמיים וכיוצא בזה. על פי הנ"ל מובן שלאו דווקא זה מה שנדרש ממנו, אלא עליו להתמקד בדלת אמות שלו ובחלקו הפרטי, ושם להכין את עצמו וכל האנשים שבסביבתו להבאת המשיח. Also, we learn from him on the other side that if there's a yid that he really wants to do something and he wants to think of and have an idea how to bring Mashiach, and he might think that he has to do something like project worldwide, something, etc. So from here we can learn that this is not necessarily that was demanded from a person, but he has to concentrate on his place and his portion, in his individual private portion, prepare himself and the people around him to bring Mashiach. ונקודה נוספת בדומה לזה, שראוי להזכיר כאן, היא מה שהרבי כל הזמן מדגיש, שהדרך להבאת המשיח היא לאו דווקא על ידי פעולות מורכבות, אלא על ידי מצווה אחת, מחשבה אחת או דבר אחד או מעשה אחד. כפי שהרבי מצטט תדיר את דברי הרב בהלכות תשובה, שהאדם צריך לראות את עצמו וכל העולם כולו שקול, עשה מצווה אחת, הכריע את עצמו כולו, דחף זכות וגרם לו ולהם תשובה והצלה. So another point that we should mention here, as Rabbi expressed always, that the way to bring Mashiach is not necessarily by doing big, complicated actions, but through one thought, one speech, or one action. Like the Rebbe often cites, how you say it? The Rambam that is said in Hilchos Teshuvah, the person has to see himself, how you say it, he sees himself in the world like a
balance.
On a scale.
On a scale of balance, and when he's doing one mitzvah, he's pulling the scale to the whole side, and the whole world is pulling it to half foot and brings תשובה והצלה to the whole world. ובלשון קודשו, הקשיבו יהודים, הוספת מעשה אחד, די כל אחד מכם, יכולה להיות המעשה שהוא המכה בפטיש, לפני הגאולה האמיתית והשלמה. פעולתו של יהודי אחד, מבוגר או ילד, שנותן פרוטה אחת לצדקה, גורמת לו ולכל העולם תשובה והצלה, די גאולה האמיתית והשלמה. In the words of the Rebbe, listen, Yidden, by adding one action through each one and one of you, can be the action that is the Makah B'Patish that brings the Geula Hamitis Vashlema. Or one action of a Yid, of action, I say, adult or a child, that gives one coin to tzedakah can bring the whole world, the Geula Hamitis Vashlema. הדרך הישרה מבין כל דרכי התורה. והנה, מכל השיחות שהובאו לאל מובן, שהקריאה, עשו כל אשר ביכולתכם להביא בפועל את משיח צדקנו, אינה דורשת בדווקא חדשים, אלא בעיקר רוח ונשמה וחיות מחודשת בכל הפעולות. So we understand from all the sichot that we brought before, that the Rebbe said, do everything I can do in your koiches to bring a Mashiach, actually. It doesn't demand new things, but mainly what the Rebbe demands here is the highest, the neshama, the spirit, and new highest in doing all the things. ככנ"ל, העבודה להבאת המשיח מתבטאת בדיוק במה שעשו בני ישראל בכל הדורות, לימוד תורה, קיום המצוות מתוך ציפייה לגאולה, כמובן בשיחת שבת שמיני המובאת לאל. בפרטיות יותר, בעבודה של הפצת התורה והיהדות והפצת החסידות, כולל גם הפצת 7 מצוות בני נוח, כמובן בשיחת שבת אחרי וקדושים, לאל, שאלו כל הפעולות של הרבי במשך כל שנות נשיאותו, ואלו בדיוק הפעולות בהן צריך להמשיך עד ביאת המשיח בפועל ממש. So, like we said before, the work to bring Mashiach is expressed in exactly what Yidden did in all the previous generations. Learning Torah and with Tzipia, waiting for the Geula, like the Rebbe spoke, especially through avoida of spreading Torah in Yadus and Chassidus, including spreading the 7 months of the Goyim, the Enoyach. And that's exactly the Paulas that the Rebbe did all the years of his Nesius. That's exactly the Paula we have to continue doing till Mashiach will come בפועל ממש. והחידוש שבשיחות אלו הוא רק הדגשה יתרה על הצורך בפעולה של כל אחד ואחד ממש, ועל האחריות שיש לכל אחד להביא את הגאולה, כפי שצוטט בשיחות בתחילת הפרק, וכפי שנדבר יותר בהמשך. And the חידוש in all this שיחות that Rabbi is stressing more the need of action of each and every individual and the responsibility that everyone has to bring them geula. And like you brought from the Sara of the Rebbe in the beginning, and it will bring in the next next whatever pages. ולפי זה צריך להבין משמעותם של דברי הרבי, שימצאו 1, 2, 3 שיתכסו עצה מה לעשות וכיצד לעשות, שתהיה גאולה אמיתית והשלמה בפועל ממש. שהרי אם הדרך להבאת המשיח ברורה וידועה, then if according to that we have to understand the meaning of the Rebbe's word, that they found 1, 2, or 3 people who should have an idea what to do and how to bring the Geula. Because if the way to bring the Mashiach is already clear and known, so why do we have to find new ideas and look for new ways to bring Mashiach? ובפשטות מובן שהמושג תיקוס עצה מלכתחילה מכוון לתוך המסגרת הנ"ל של הוספה בלימוד התורה וקיום המצוות. כלומר, לחשוב ולבדוק האם ישנם עניינים שיש בהם חולשה מסוימת, שייתכן שבגלל זה הגאולה מתעכבת, ואולי החיזוק שלהם הוא זה שיביא את הגאולה השלמה. כדברי הרב בשיחת שבת פרשת נוח תשנ"ב, מזה שעדיין לא הגיעה הגאולה לפועל, מובן שעדיין חסר בשלמות של עניין מסוים. וכפי הנראה, החיסרון הוא בעניין לקידוש לבנה, שאינם כאלו שאינם זהירים בזה כדווי. So, but it seems very simple. It means in this frame of adding, learning Torah and doing mitzvahs, so we have to see if there is an Inyan that is a bit weak, there's a certain weakness that because of that the Geula doesn't come on now, and maybe strengthening this Inyan will bring the Geula, like the Rebbe said also in Parshas Noach, like the fact that the Geula didn't come yet. So I understand if there is something is missing in a certain Inyan, and it seems that the what?
Right.
I think it's Kiddush Levana. There are people who are not so careful about it. או בדומה לכך, שאפשר למצוא עניינים חדשים בתורה ומצוות שטרם פעלו אותם, ואולי הפעולה שלהם היא זו שתביא את הגאולה. ודרך דברי הרבי בשיחת שבת פרשת עקב תנוסה, בנוגע להדפסת התניא בברייל, שאולי זו הייתה המניעה האחרונה לביאת המשיח. Or in a similar way, the Rebbe said that we could find no inyonim in Torah that were not yet being acted, and this maybe this action will maybe bring the Geula, like the Rebbe said about printing the Tanya with the braille writing. But maybe that was the last thing that was the last obstacle to bring Mashiach. או בכיוון אחר קצת, על פי דברי הרבי באחד ממאמריו, נוסף על כך שכל העניינים במעשינו ועבודתנו מקרבים ומזרזים הגאולה העתידה, גם מיוחד בעניינים אלו השייכים בגלוי יותר למשיח. ושם הדברים אמורים כלפי מנהג הבעל שם טוב, לערוך סעודת משיח באחרון של פסח. לפי שאז מאיר הערת המשיח, לסעודה הזו יש כוח מיוחד להביא את משיח צדקנו. Or maybe in a different direction a bit, and once, like the Rebbe spoke in his Maimorim, that additional to all the inyanim of avoida in our actions that bring and heighten the geula, there's a special geula in doing things that are connected directly to Mashiach, or more in a more revealed way to Mashiach. And and over there the Rebbe speaks about the minhag of the Baal Shem Tov to make the Sudas Mashiach in Achar Shel Pesach, because then the revelation of Mashiach is shining, and we understand that to this Seudah there's a special koyach to bring Mashiach. ומובן שכן ובנוגע לשאר עניינים דומים לזה, השייכים בגלוי יותר למשיח, שגם בהם יש את אותה סגולה מיוחדת לזרז את הגאולה. ולכן, כאשר אנו רוצים להחיש את ביאת המשיח רגע אחד קודם, אפשר לחשוב ולחפש ולטכס עצה, מה הם אותם עניינים בתוך המסגרת הכללית של מעשינו ועבודתנו, שיש להם סגולה מיוחדת להבאת המשיח, ובהם לעסוק בצורה מיוחדת. So we understand, so it's the same about similar in they are connected to in a revealed way to Mashiach. Also in those inyanim, there is this special segula to hasten the geula. And that's why when we're looking for an idea to bring Mashiach 1 minute, 1 second, 1 minute earlier, so we can think and look for an idea, what are those inyanim that could, in the framework of Masenu Vavodaseinu, that they have a special segula to bring Mashiach, and in those inyanim to work in a special way. Maybe Rivki wants to read a bit now. Rivki, are you with us?
Yeah, I could.
Okay.
So
After the square.
Okay. והכין בתקופה של אחר ניסן, לאחר הקריאה של what's that word?
לטכס.
לטכס עצה מה לעשות וכיצד לעשות, אלו כמה עצה ספריינס כיצד לזרז ביאת המשיח, ובין הדברים היה רעיון של התלמידים ב-770 שהפיצו דף ובאי מפתח לשיחת מאמר הנשיא דרינו בהם מספרים בעניין גאולה משיח. And indeed, in the time after Kayach Nisan, in that tkufa, there was, when the Rebbe said to think of an idea of what to do and how to do it, there were different ideas of how to speed the coming of Mashiach. And one of them was a idea of the students in 770 to print index, what is called, not an index, I forgot the word, a list of all the sichos and memorim, which explain,
it's like a appendix, like a glossary,
yeah, like a glossary, right? Of
an
the
index,
sichos.
an index.
Oh, it is an index. Okay, of the sichos and memorim on the topic of Gula Mashiach. Uba'isa Shabbos Parshas Tazir Mitzayra of Ir Achin Hikdish Rabbi Dvarim Lirayan Zet V'Higdar Isa Kedech Yishar Kala Mehira B'Yeser V'Bein Kal Drek Yatera. Wow, I didn't realize that it was the idea of the Bachrim at first. That it did come from us. So and the Rebbe said that this is the right idea, that this is the straight and easy and fast is the Yaiser only on the Mehira or is on everything? The fastest path to bring from all the paths of Torah, this is the fastest way to affect the Hiskalas and the coming of Mashiach. Meaning that even though all they're all of Torah mitzvahs all lead to the coming of Mashiach. But between the ways of Torah themselves, within the ways of Torah, there are ways, so there are ways that are easier and faster. And the fastest one from them is learning about Geula Mashiach. So in the Rebbe's words, the Reinu Zed, there are Acharin Shel Hagalas. Ikvasa de Mashiach, Vasheila hi, Kevan Shekvar Nistaimu, Masina Babedisenu Kozma Meshach Hagalas. Maya Derech Yishara, Hakala Bamehira Bieser, Mavin Kol Derek Yatera, Shiavalea Adam, Klalas B'nai Yisrael, Shagam Manyani Vaida Kedele Falas Kalas Bias Mashiach. So the Rebbe says that now our generation is on the level of Adam because we're already finished all of our Vaida of Galas. So what now? What's the Derech what's the straight path now? Ukanash Ilazu to bring the revelation and coming of Mashiach. Ukanash Ilazu Mahi Adarach Yishara he be'etzim she'elas ha'maftech shel ha. What is that word again? Tikus Seitzan, מהי הדרך הכי מהירה להחש את ספייס משיח ועל כך אנא הרבה בהמשך השיחה. So this question, מהי הדרך ישרה, this was really what the Rebbe was asking on Kach Nisan. Like, think of an idea, what should we do to bring Mashiach? This is like the question of what's the fastest way? And how does the Rebbe answer? Ubir haderech yeshar l'skalas ubias hamashiach b'negia l'maisa b'payil liman atar b'nyanim melech hamashiach b'nyanim ha'geula sh'nispara b'ribe mekames. So the explanation of what it means, what is the most direct path to reveal and bring Mashiach in actuality, is to learn Torah in the topics of King Mashiach and Geula, as it's explained in many places. B'Torah Shebachsav, b'Befrat b'Divrei Neviim, shekol Sfar Meleim b'Derbazeh, b'Torah Shebal Peh, b'Gemara, b'Befrat Masach Sanhedrin, and b'Seif Masachet Saita, u'b'Midrashim, agam b'Miyuchad b'Pnimis Torah Chomei Sefer HaZayir, b'Frat b'Torah Chasadas, b'Torah Rabbi Sinu Sienu, b'Frat b'Torah Sei Ma'amarim v'Lekutei Sichos Shel Nasi Direinu. So the Rebbe says, where should we learn from? The Rebbe specifies, right? In Torah Shebachsav, it's including the Nevi'im. Well, doesn't the Rebbe doesn't say the Rambam? Or maybe it's not here. Specifically the Nevi'im, because the Nevi'im are filled with Nebuos of Mashiach. And in Torah Shebal Peh, we have the Gemara, and the Rebbe specifies where exactly, and Midrashim, and especially in Pnimius HaTorah, starting with the Zohar, and then specifically in Chassidus, in the Chassidus of Arabeim, Chassidus Chabad, and specifically in the Torah, which is the Maimarim Lekutei Sichos of Nasi Direinu. So the Rebbe's the Rebbe's own Sichos are the, how do you say, ubefrat, like the last time, because we're going right each time the Rebbe is saying like more and more specific. So the most specific is his own sichos. By Safa b'limud haTorah b'inyanim Mashiach ha'geula haderech yishar lefal haskalas ubias haMashiach v'geula b'payil mamish, and increasing and learning Torah in the topics of Mashiach and Geula is the straight path to bring about the revelation and coming of Mashiach and the Geula in actuality. The Kal le, and right, this is one of the places where the Rebbe refers to himself as Nasi Direinu, because Lekutei Sichos is the Rebbe is the only one that has Lekutei Sichos, and the Rebbe says Lekutei Sichos of Nasi Direinu. V'kal ishar shadvarim shebesicha bo behemshech liyuz masam shal eisam talmidim ki ishra v'idud le'etza ule yuzma shalahem. So it's easy to, what's that word, Lashar, to imagine, that this sicha is a continuation of the initiative of those students saying that they were like saying that it's right and encouraging them in this idea and this initiative that they had. וכחלק ממנו נתפס קונטרס לקוטי סיכס בעניין הגאולה משיח. ובאי ארבע סיכס מבארץ הסלחס מלך המשיח ברמב"ם. בארץ הקודש יצא עיסא חי בארץ במהדורס דבר מלכס. גאולין יד בייז, וכשנסקבל חי בארץ דבר מלכס עיסא רב ב-770, הרע הרב לעשייס התפס מיוחדת של מהדורה זו על מנס לחלקה לרבים, ובתספב עיר עמד הרבה חלק בידי הקדשה לכל אחד מהאנשים מטף, מתוך מטרה ברורה לעודד את היוזמה החדשה של עניין הגאולה משיח לא רק בדיבור אלא במעשה בפועל. So as a result of this sicha, there was a great awakening in learning Inyan Mashiach Geula, and as part of this awakening, there was contrast printed of sichos in the topics of Geula Mashiach, and inside there were the 4 sichos where the Rebbe explains the Hilchas Melech Mashiach of the Rambam. And in Eretz Yisrael, they made a special booklet, a special edition of Dvar Malchus with these 4 sichos. And when the Rebbe received it, he asked to print it, make a special printing of this edition in order to give it out to everyone. And on Tesvav Ir, the Rebbe stood and distributed these booklets to men, women, and children with the goal, the clear, obvious purpose of encouraging this initiative, this new initiative of learning Yana Gula Mashiach, not only in words, but also there was actually not just talking about it, but he's actually doing the action of giving out the booklet to give the almost encouragement. And throughout the year, the following year, the Rebbe repeated this idea, the importance, the need to learn in Yana Mashiach Geula. The Rebbe said it so many times in so many sichos, to the point that it's possible to say that this was the central hira of the Rebbe in that year. One second, Sarah, do you want to read or you're not up to it right now? Okay. וביחד עם זה, הדגש הרב באיס השיחה ובשיחס רבס נספס הסמיצס הצדקה, שכמאמר חז"ל גדל צדקה שמקרבס אז הגאולה כדבר באיס השיחה. And together with this emphasis on learning Gula Mashiach, the Rebbe also emphasized in many sichos the importance of giving the mitzvah of tzedakah, that specifically tzedakah hastens the geula. Like in the sicha of Chavches Nisan, right? Va'id ve'ikar kepashat, or maybe this is in the Tazir Mater. Va'id ve'ikar kepashat lahaisef b'kiyam hamitzvahs behidr b'miuchad ba'hidr b'mitzvahs hatzedakah klalis kol hamitzvahs shemakar v'nesa geula. O kedai v'nachen lakashra isafa b'tzedakah im isafa b'tara b'nyanim Mashiach geula. Al-yedei zeh she'isafa l'tzedakah hi mitech kavana l'kari v'lazari zesa geula. Kevin shekavana zu k'shala'atzma hi chelik milim b'tara b'nyanim hageula. Halimad machshava mizman lezman d'maimer chazal gedel tzedakah shemikravas geula. So especially the Rebbe says to increase in fulfilling the mitzvahs behidr, and specifically hidr, the mitzvah of tzedakah, which includes all of the mitzvahs, because this hastens the geula, and it's proper and correct to connect the giving of tzedakah, this additional giving of tzedakah, with an addition in learning Torah in the topics of Mashiach and Geula, through adding that through this additional tzedakah that we give should be with the purpose to hasten the Geula, because this, when we have this intention, then that's part of learning. Like we're doing both at the same time. We're learning in Yana Mashiach Geula. We're reviewing this Maimer Chazal that tzedakah is great because it hastens the Geula. And at the same time, we're doing Hitler mitzvah, adding in tzedakah, which is equal to all mitzvahs, and and that in itself would hasten the geula. But when we combine them both together, it's the most the fastest way to bring the geula. The Nesef shes I as v'niskabel idea harabe b'ratzin haya psaktin harabana misharebe hu hamelech hamashiach shetzarich leiskala state of miyad psaktin shenachtam b'maitzah Shabbos kodesh early Rosh Chodesh Ir. ובהמשך לזה, החסימייס על הצהרס קבלס המלכוס של רבי מלך המשיח, וגם לזה אפשר לראות יחסוס מסוימס בשיחס איסה תקופה, בפרט בשיחה של פרשס שבס פרשס תזריע מצרה, בה ישנה עריכוס שלימה על כך שהמשיח נמצא בעולם בזמן ובמקום הגלוס, והוא נשיא דרנו כולו. So an additional, so we said so far that the way to bring Mashiach, especially, I mean, in all Torah mitzvahs brings Mashiach, but specifically things that are connected to Mashiach in an open way, and specifically in Torah to learn the topics of Geula Mashiach, and in mitzvahs specifically tzedakah, and to connect that with Geula. And an additional thing, which the Rebbe, which came up from the Hasidim and which was received by the Rebbe, like Baratzain with how do you say, the Rebbe was pleased with it, was the psaktin of the Rabbanim that the Rebbe is Melech HaMashiach, who needs to reveal himself immediately. And this psak din of the Rabbanim was signed on Matzah Shabbos or the Rosh Chodesh Iyar. And as a continuation of this, many signatures were gathered for accepting the Rebbe as Melech HaMashiach. And we can also see this, like the Rebbe supporting this in the Sichos from that time period, especially in Shabbos Tazri Mitzvah, where the Rebbe speaks at length about the fact that Mashiach is already found in the time and place of Galus, and that he is Nasi Direnu. So the fact that the Rebbe keeps speaking about the fact that there is a Mashiach is obviously for a reason. But this topic was already discussed and will be discussed later in more depth. Yeah, it's interesting, like when the Rebbe speaks, like quite a lot of sichos where the Rebbe points out, like there is someone from the Zera of Yehuda who is right to be Mashiach, like right in that place, including about Kiddush Levana, the Rebbe like points it out again and again, and we have to, take the hint or not take the hint. Yeah. Do you want to do the sequel, or what time is it? It's already 2:00. Do you want to continue next time with the summary or no?
The sequel is very short.
Maybe you want to do it, Sarah?
Oh, okay.
Or not really. Deep breathing.
Okay, so to sum up what we've done tonight. Right from Chavches Nisan of 91. Nun Aleph. Rebbe Misyaches le'inyan ha'geula ke'inyan achi ikari shazman grama. L'chein Rebbe Maskim ar al kach shekol echad Yisrael tzarich la'asayt kol ha'tali boyu b'chtei lahavi es Mashiach b'payil. So from Chavches Nisan onward, the Rebbe kept referring to the Inyan of Geula as the main thing, the most important concept of our time. And the Rebbe mentioned it and encouraged it, that every single Jew has to do everything they possibly can to bring the Geula. Haderech la'ava Geula, harehi b'pashtus, lim hatar became a mitzvah b'chlal, tach dakish miyucha al abayis binyan ha'elam. So what's the way to bring the Geula? So b'pashtus is learning Torah, doing mitzvahs, with an emphasis on doing things in the world. Klaimar, kima mitzvahs b'dvarim gashmim davka, u'pe'ilos shel hafatzat shar v'yadas hafatzat l'kus b'ayim kailos bein umas ha'elam. So that means doing mitzvahs in the physical world and spreading Torah and Yiddishkeit and spreading godliness in the world, also amongst the Goyim. So that's including business people who use their contacts in the business world to spread godliness in the world. At the same time, in parallel to that, we also have to have an emphasis on learning Torah and deepening in depth in Torah Chasidus. And even in more detail, being called darkei Torah, from amongst all the ways of Torah, Yeshnim in Yanim Miyuchadim Hakshurim Begili L'Mashiach V'Lahem Skul Miyuchadnes L'Ambas HaGeula. So amongst the Torah itself, there are certain things that are specifically connected to the revelation of Mashiach, and therefore they have a special benefit, really, in bringing the Geula. The central point in that area is Haderech Yishar V'Akal V'Amira V'Limin Hatar B'Inyan Mashiach. So that the most straight, the smoothest and easiest and quickest way to do that is to learn the Inyanim of Mashiach and Geula that we have been doing, and therefore there's no longer anything else, and we need to already see it. The Rebbe is testing us. It's like happening over and over again. It's genukshen, It's time.
Amen.
Amen.
Yerushalayim.
Amen.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Amen. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank
Feel
you. We are
good.
so tired and